Hello and welcome. In today's video we are going to take a look at my first real hardcore character. Now this is a Haruspex build, you can see here. It is a level 76 build, so quite a high level. And as you can see, I didn't die a single time. I played for quite a long time, 5 days. And I show you what I can about my build. For starting out, I'm just starting out the Eternal Embers Act. You can see all of the acts are done, as well as Atlantis. Of course, this is optional, but I'm just starting out the DLC. I got as far as here one time, but the other cities will be quite new to me, so I don't have I have no knowledge of them. Now, let's start with my gear. Now, for starting, let's go with the boots. Now, this is Hervor's Fine Steel, is quite a strong piece. I'm using it mostly for the physical resistance, as well as defensive ability, and the damage from undead. But you can see also the vitality damage resistance is quite nice. If I remove it, I only have 20%. So this is essential to keep my vitality resistance up. But this increases your vitality and physical resistance mainly, so the melee attackers will not do as much damage. Now for the talisman, we have a Dynasty of Color of Tranquility. Of course, the 33% health, I have 15,000, is really strong. Combined with the Golden Scarab, we have +1 to all skills, and the Stonebinder Scarf gives another 3. So in total +4 to all skills, which is essential for any kind of game build. Now, for the Stonebinder Scarves, there is nothing really to say. It's one of the strongest armor pieces in the game. If you can get some really high +2 all skills from elsewhere, for example from the Golden Scarab or Hallowed Hats, you can skip the Stonebinder Scarves, but they are so strong. And just the relic slot, it's insane. So this one is kind of essential equipment. Now the Amura's Glory is of course essential. In this build we don't want to die, so the health and the vitality damage resistance, you can see if I remove them, I will not be kept. So this is quite a nice chunk of health. 1,000 is really high. Now let's go with the shield. Now this is a very nice shield. It does lots of elemental resistance. You can see 32%. Now my fire will still be quite high, but you can see that 23% health at the bottom. Look at my health. It does 1.6k health, just this shield alone. And of course the strength and dex are really nice to keep this build going. The more points I have from equipment, the less points I have to spend on strength and dexterity respectively, and so I can spend more points into health. Now I'm keeping some points, about 15, 10 sometimes, to equip some new equipment I might find, because I don't really know what I can find in the Eternal Embers Act. I have not spoiled myself that much, so I'm just keeping them to be safe. Now let's move on to the Hail Jewel of Immortality. Now this Hail prefix, as well as the Robust, will be your best allies in the early game. You can equip better equipment, as well as increase your health in the early game, and they will all come with this strength and health percentage. Now you can see
in all of
There are lots of hail prefixes. They all come with the strength and health percentage. Now this one in particular also rolled with the health, which is of course really strong. We don't want to die in this build. And that's it. This also increases my stun resistance with the legendary Demon's Blood, so I have perfect resistance. You can see if I remove these pieces, although I will have 0% stun resistance. So this is essential to not be crowd controlled, as well as the vitality resistance. It's quite nice. Now for the helmet, this is a god roll, probably one of the best rolls you can have for a monster infrequent. Now we have a Master Forge helmet, which you can see here on the head. Master Forge. It always rolls with elemental resistance, which is fine, which is really good, in fact, but the mammoth thing is insane. 21% health and flat health as well, combined with the Amura's Glory and all the percentage increase from the ring, from the Hero's Shield, as well as Stonebinder's Dynasty. You can see I have quite a lot of health percentage multiplying. So this one is quite literally insane. Now if I remove this, you can see this alone does 3000 health. It's really strong to survive. Now here we have a strange ring. Now this is not the survival ring, but a damaging ring. Now of course the pierce and poison resistance are nice. You can see they are really low.
Farewell.
I also have the herbal remedy to fix my poison, so I'll go to 53%. So it's not useless, these resistances, but I will use it mostly for the damaging part, for the damage, physical damage, but also the dexterity and the offensive and defensive ability. You can see my defensive ability is really high. If I remove this, I lose 100 just from this. But the main focus is this. Now this build is used to swapping your weapon. I'll show it in a bit. But if I remove this ring and swap, sometimes with some gear, you can see I will lose my Stonebinders and also my Master Forge helmet. So what I don't want to do is swap gear around. For example, I sometimes swap this Quiver of Nifm just for the bleeding resistance, because I am at negative 100%. So this can be a nice swap, but you can see I lose both my my boots and my helmet, so it's really bad. And to lose even the Stonebinder scarves, it's really bad. So I'm keeping this ring just for the Stonebinder scarf, and I'll show you why in a bit. But for now I'll keep going with the spear. Now this spear is a really strong one. It's not the strongest in terms of damage, but in terms of survivability, it's quite nice. Now the base spear, you can see here, it's this. It has a nice damage, of course. The pierce ratio is also nice. Quite a lot of vitality damage, which since we are using Dream Mastery, we can increase with Lucid Dream and Psionic Touch. So it's nothing to scoff at. It's quite a nice chunk of damage. But most importantly, these two, the Life Leech and the Reduced Damage, they are so strong to keep you alive. The reduced damage will just impair a boss for all the time. You can just face tank him and just suck up all the damage from him with this. Really strong. As well as the attack speed, of course, is nice. This is useless. And it has also another skill, the consume life, activated on attack sometimes, which does some vitality damage. This strangely does not proc. I don't know why. But the vitality damage is, yeah, it's nice, but this cannot be upgraded with the Psionic Touch because it is a separate proc. And yeah, it's nice, but these are the main focus. The life leech and the reduced damage. I have found some better spears in terms of damage.
You look weary. Can I take a burden
For
from
example,
your shoulders?
Pelinus Ashland Spear, it does a lot more damage, you can see here, and as well as the pierce resistance. You can see I go into the positives. But I found out that the reduced damage percent is just so strong. Now you can see my spear is a bit different from the one I showed you. That's because I used my quest,
Safe roads, my friend.
my legendary craftsmanship quest on my spear. And I got really lucky. Now you can use it as it is, as a base spear. The main focus is the reduce resistances, so you don't have to upgrade the spear. But if you do and you get something like this, you will be quite happy. Now you can see I did have my reduction to requirements and as well as life leech percent and a lot more vitality damage. Now that's because I got one more prefix, which is the weightless. You can see I have minus 18 and it rolled 20 this time. And I got the devouring suffix, which is so strong. Just the attack damage converted to health, it's invaluable. To keep attacking that boss, keep attacking that enemy, and you will not go down in health. You can see I have 16 right there. Attack damage converted to health. Now this thing is so strong. Now let's move on to the chest piece. I am using Rizu's whitewashed armor. It's not the best in terms of armor, base armor. I have found some more, for example, Master Forge Cuirass. It's nice. For example, Myrmidon Kitting. This one rolled with the Mountaineer prefix, I think. And it's quite nice for the pierce resistance. You can see I go into the positive. It does 93 pierce resistance, which is insane. But I found myself preferring this item. Just the basic pierce will not let me go into the very high negatives, so it's nice. The poison resistance will let me have a nice poison. This is a low poison resistance for the late game, so just 53 is enough. The life leech, of course, is nice, but not the main focus. Now the main focuses are the last three. The total speed, look at my damage, look at my attack speed. It's not insane, but it's nice to let me attack faster, just do everything faster. It's a quality of life equipment. As well as the reduction to requirements. You can see if I swap here and I remove this, I'll lose my boots and helmet. So this is probably essential in my build. I have the reduction to requirements, but if I swap here, you can see I lose that spear, so I cannot use this reduction. And of course the damage to undead is great, paired with the less damage from undead. This makes undead enemies quite a breeze. You will kill them faster, take less damage. And that of course will be nice, since your life leech, your vitality, and your attack damage converted to health will not work. So to deal with that, of course these kind of things will be really good. Now, to complete this build, we have a Talisman of the Jade Emperor, probably one of the strongest resistance based talismans or artifacts in the game. Now, it has 50% elemental resistance, which is insane. Now, the strength as well will let you equip, as we said, better equipment. So if I remove this, even with the reduction to requirements, I could not equip this stuff. Now, the defensive ability is quite strong, but I mostly use it for the recharge reduction and the elemental resistance. Now, the completion bonus is nothing crazy, but you can see that 25% recharge will be quite great. Now, I only have this 25%, as we said, but I will show you later a trick that we can use by swapping the gear around, because I'm using quite some powerful gear. Now, for starting out on the offhand weapon, we have Broker's Gift. Now, this is a quite strong blue item. It has a level 54 requirement, which is so high. It does a lot of damage, fire resistance, offensive ability, but the main focus is the minus recharge. Now, this as well, in terms of resistance, this Golden Shield of Peleron, it's so trash. But it does a nice chunk of minus recharge. So we have minus 23, minus 24, and minus 25. Quite the progression, 3, 4, 5. Now, you can see, while I'm changing weapon, I go from 25 to 72, which is really high.
Farewell.
Now, that is really important, because while this build is really resistant, it does not have a lot of damage, and this is why the attack speed it's not that high, but it's miserable, I think. Now, look at my offensive ability, 774. This is really low. For the end game is really low. I'm starting to miss enemies so much, my damage cannot be applied, and as well as my debuffs, my reduced damage percentage cannot be applied if I can't hit enemies. Now, this can be fixed by a strong ability, Call of the Hunt. This does a chunk of attack speed, bleeding damage over time, damage to beasts and beastment percentage, and this lasts 64 seconds. Now, look at what happens if I change my weapon. Now you can see the seconds recharge just jumped from 135 to 50 seconds, and the duration is 64. So basically, what I will do is change my weapon, cast Call of the Hunt, and it will last longer than the cooldown. So I can have this permanently active. So this will fix my attack speed, so I will have a lot more damage, of course, against beasts and beastmen, even more. This increases your pierce and bleeding damage, is just nice, but it's not the main focus. But you can see, even if I attack faster, I do more damage. Now my offensive ability has skyrocketed from 700 to 1700, so 1000 more just from this. This finesse ability is what fixes this build damage for the offensive ability. As you can see, this has run out and I can cast it again. Now this offensive ability is quite strong. It helps me fix my unhittable enemies in a way, and then I will just change gear again. Just because this is the main configuration, this is the one that has the most resistances, the most health, the most protection, and the most damage, of course. Now, this is the gear. I used to have a lot less strong gear. I just swapped some recently, and I was quite in a dilemma. I was thinking about using this color instead of my dynasty, just for the pierce resistance and the armor. 78% pierce resistance is quite strong, but I figured that this 2400 health would be better. Now, so I didn't use these honor guards. Just recently as well, I was losing a lot of health from this, because I was still using my hallowed hat. Now if you can see, from 1300 to 15,000, sorry. Now this +1 to all skills is lost, of course, but I have offset it with this legendary golden scarab, so I still have +4. Now I chose to swap this out because this vitality damage resistance was a lot over the cap. So if you can see, this does 50% but I only need 20. So this is just enough. Now, in the early part of the game, I was using these two rings and amulets. Now this one, it's a bit strange, but I just use it for the casting speed, this occult loop. Now of course it's a great item, so you can find it in shop, and you will probably find it in the early Orient parts of the game, even faster in the later Egypt. But basically at the start of the game you will be really weak with your weapon. So what you want to do is start with Dream Mastery in a spell casting way, so your main damaging ability will be Distortion Wave, Distort Reality, and Phantom Strike. Now these have really low cast time. These do not, but you have a bad weapon, so this one is not that good. So leveling Distort Wave and Distort Reality is going to be really nice. And this cast speed, it's quite nice. It's nice in the early game, but in the end game you will mostly do damage with your weapon. As we said, we need a lot of offensive ability, and this casting speed loses value over time, so I just choose other rings. Now for this Tinkerer amulets, now you will probably use this in early epic, probably in Egypt. You will farm a Tinkerer ring, or in this case amulet, in Atlantis normal, to use it in epic Egypt. To do, because you can use you can see a golden scarab and an epic one to get +2 to all skills, and combined with the Stonebinder cuffs.
Your belongings are safe with me.
Level
Well,
1.
that sounded suspicious, didn't it?
You have a +1 and +2 from this amulet, +3 already. If you can find a hollowed hut, you have already +4 in starting out epic, which is so strong and will be quite nice. Now, in legendary, of course, this becomes useless really fast for the +3 Stonebinder scuffs. You don't need this much +12 skills to be strong, so I just swap this out. Now, I'll show you also my swap gear, and yeah, that's really it. We have a ritual fibula of immortality. Now this is my ritual swap gear. I have found a better one, but I accidentally sold it because I'm stupid. It had a lot more health, I think 600, and yeah, I was stupid and I sold it, so I had to farm another one. I also had the one with the defensive ability, but I'm already so high, so the health is better. And since I don't need any more +12 skills, well, it would be nice, but I just choose to have some health with the essence of Light of Belinus. Now, this is a strange essence or relic. Now, look at this Belinus or Belinus. Now you can see in normal, epic and legendary it does always 12% health. Now of course the completion bonus varies. You always want the health. If you don't have the vitality, the forced completion bonus is vitality, so you can force that as well. But sometimes you will want the health. Now this 12% does not change, as we said, and the effect that does change is just this percentage. So if you have an essence instead of an embodiment of incarnation, it's fine to just use it. The health is the same. If you don't want to farm again, it's just fine. Now, that's it for this amulet. Now here we have these 4 gears. Let me separate these 4. I have a sacrificial medallion of grace, and you will probably guess what I'm doing with this. Now, this 63% health reduction and health regeneration reduction per second is so bad for this build, but this is just a swap gear. So when you are collecting a quest, you will use this experience gained increased, as well as Anthlon with the 25% increase, Chakram of the Lawless with the 10% increase is not that high, and Alpenglow with the 20% experience increase. In total it's about 100%, 43, 20, 63, 25 and 10 as well. It's about 90, but it's really high. Now, just some time ago, one of these quests, this one gave me 500,000 experience. Now, just imagine multiplying it by all this experience. This is quite nice to increase your experience gained, but other than that, this will stay in the inventory. Never use this item. Well, in fact, Alpenglow is quite nice, but this one is really bad compared to my spear, and of course Althlon is so bad compared to Masterforge helmet like this. This is I almost died because of this. I will talk about it later, but this will stay in the inventory most of the time. Now for bosses, I really use this. I found them casually in the Act 2, normal, I think. Don't remember, but they are so strong. Now what they do is mostly grant you hit shield. So you can do it like this. Swap around, get shield, and swap again. And now you have a permanent phys reduction, 15% increase in physical damage. Now this is level 1 hit shield, so it does also increase your physical absorption by 10%. So against some bosses like Sorter, here, will be quite nice. But most of the time I just don't use it, only against bosses, because it's a pain to continue swapping around, and I don't have any more slots to put this item. So I still have to remove this, or even swap the bar. Now, we have talked about this. Let's move on to my swap gear. Now, sometimes I use these splint glyphs of the glade just for the glade prefix. You can see I enchanted it with Hydrodon Hide to get even more less damage from beasts. It's not even completed, I didn't bother to care. It's just enough to farm some beast bosses. For example, in the north as well, in the Scandia Act, we have Hildivini, which is the golden boar. Now he is a beast, so this 55% damage reduction from him is so nice. Also, he doesn't do any kind of vitality damage, so even if I lose this fine herbal fine steel and I lose a lot of vitality damage, I am quite fine as well. Now, for my bleeding damage, for my bleeding resistance, I have this quiver of Nif. As we said before, I can swap this, but there is a problem. You can see if I swap my gear, now I cannot equip it. So that's a pain. What I will do is also equip this one I recently found, because they give plus 20% strength. Now you can see if I do this, now if I swap gear, I still keep my equipment. So I can equip this, and both of these do a lot of bleeding resistance. So even if my, let's recast this, even if my other resistances go down a lot, for example my physical, my vitality, and my elemental resistance mainly go down a lot. Now against some particular enemies, this will be really strong. Now that's because you can see here troll breasted glyphs. It does hint you to what enemies this is strong against, and that is in fact trolls. Now these fucking enemies do a lot of bleeding damage. Now they almost killed me once because I didn't really realize that they will do so much bleeding damage. Now of course I have minus 100%, but damn, they hurt. So about the first time I encountered them, so past Hauneburg, you will find a lot of encampments with trolls, and this bleeding resistance will be a problem. So this one, this troll versatile glyphs, and the quiver of Nif will solve this problem. Now, sadly, I found these troll versatile glyphs after I completed the North Act. So they have been quite useless, but if I ever go back to farm some things, this will be really strong. Now I have some other rings, but they are mostly useless. I have used them in the past. This one I just used for the damage to demons and undead. But for the undead mostly, I already have plus 60% damage to undead. And for the Signet of Hope, it does less damage from undead and demons. I just swap it around sometimes when I am in the Act 4 Hades, sometimes in here. I just use it, for example, against Charon and Bone Typhon. I use it sometimes, but mostly they are for the early game. Now I just don't use them anymore. Now you can see my resistances, they are quite perfect, except for my bleeding. My armor is really good, I still have some points. My damage, you can see, is fixed with my Call of the Hunt. Now for the secondary resistances, the stun resistance is fixed by this Hail Jewel. My Petrify resistance, I don't remember what it does, but they are still not bad. This is really bad. Disruption resistance, I will have to dodge a lot of attacks from bosses to keep this down. This low resistance is given by my Temporal Flux, so strong. This trap resistance is given by Trade Blazing, and this energy resistance is given as well by my Hail Jewel or Immortality. Now this resistance, mainly these two, stun and trap resistance, will go a long way in the early part of the game where there are centaurs. For example, in Greece, mostly, you will find a lot of centaurs, and they can combo you, they can stun, they can trap, they can put a Steady Prey, my favorite, on you, and they can just one-shot you. Now, that is of course a problem, but this build can deal with it very well. The slow resistance, the stun, and the entrapment is all you have to deal with that, and just run away far from the banner that they put down and you will be safe. So that is another problem solved. Now for the Dragonians, this build does not deal with it very well. So if I go into the Orient Act, for example, against the Jade Palace, there will be a lot of Dragonians lying around, or even Chang'an later on. And in here, there are lots of Dragonians, you can see. You can find some of these blue ones, and they will do some reflect damage. Now, you can see my pierce resistance is quite bad. I don't want me attacking against myself, so I will need to be very safe, especially in Legendary. So sometimes I will just do a respec and put Psionic Wave or Distort Reality. But recently I found out that I don't need to do even that, because I'm lazy and because I found another way. Now, as we said before, if I swap my gear, I can cast Call of the Hunt and have a really low cooldown. Now what I can do is also cast Dream Image. Now this will do a copy of myself. You can see he has my swap gear around, so he will not have my spear, but my axe. So he will have lower damage, lower protection, but he will inherit my Call of the Hunt buffs. So since he has a lot of offensive ability, lots of damage overall, he can deal with the Dragonians himself, and I can just do nothing. He will attack and I will be safe. If he kills himself, it's fine, I don't die. So That's it, I just swap my gear, recast him, and after a while I can deal with it. So that's Dragonian's problems also solved. And that is why I also have this friend, this nightmare. It is my favorite pet in the game. It's not strong at all, but it's look at him. I mean, look at him. He's so cute. Now that is because he does 25% total damage to pets. And these buffs, now this, I will talk about it later, but these buffs, I think, also passes to my dream image. So since he is really strong, buffing him as well is nice. So my, if I ever level up again, I will put some points here, maybe, or in spear dash. Now let's talk about the progression. You can see I am level 76, but I have not always been high level, of course. I have also started from level 1 as well. Now what you should do, starting out, is a few things. Now, first of all, you will have to start with Dream Mastery. Hunting Mastery is a pain to level with, don't ever do that if you can. Now, with Dream Mastery, what you want to do is level up Distortion Wave as much as you can, as well as your bar, but mostly reach Chaotic Resonance for the cooldown reduction. It does not specify it, but after you put some points, this cooldown will go down and your damage will go up. Now this also reduces armor, so minus armor means more damage since this does physical damage. Now what you can do is use Lucid Dream after a while to increase your physical damage, but you can also find some suffix to help you level up. So for example, Juggernauts. Now this increases your physical damage and can roll only on the torso. What is it? The torso armor. So if you are lucky enough to find this one, just use them. The stun is really nice, the elemental is really nice, and the physical damage as well is so good for farming. Now on weapons, you can find the veteran, I think. Yeah, veteran. This increases also your physical damage. So even if your weapon does not hit very much, you can have some attack speed, some offensive ability, but starting out you will not crit that much because you still don't have this hunting mastery finesse ability. Of course, this is a really late game ability. So these ones, yeah, they're nice, but they're not your main damage dealing focus. Now this will be your main focus, the physical damage increase. If you can roll quite highly, you can use this, the Juggernaut, as well as the Lucid Dream, to increase your damage from your spells. Now after some time you will just put some points in Distort Reality, Phantom Strike, to just shuffle them around, use one is cooldown, use the other is cooldown, use the other as well, and rinse and repeat to farm fast. Now these ones, they are skilled, of course, so I suggested before that you use some
Your
occult
belongings are safe
loop.
with me. Well, that
This will
sounded
just
suspicious,
be a
didn't it?
nice quality of life if you can find it. Don't spend too much gold on it, but it's quite nice. Now after some time, of course, you will need to swap it around as I did to get some more resistances or health if you don't wanna die. Now for the later progression, what you want to do is basically find a good weapon. Now in the later part of the game,
Farewell.
you cannot sustain this kind of damage. This is too low. So you need to find a good weapon to use this finesse, exploit weakness. Now if you can, try to use your swap gear. I usually do this when I have long cooldowns. If I don't use this swap gear and just get some ranged weapon, mostly for flexibility. If I have an enemy that I want to hit from the range, I can do that. For example, let me show you a great example. Now in Hades, Medea's Grove, there is a quest that will ask you to make a potion, and you will have to gather 3 ingredients. Now that is fine, but there is one ingredient that is given from a flower, and that flower will do a shotgun of projectiles. So the nearer you are, the better for dying. So you don't want to be near it at all. It does lots of damage. So what you can kind of want to do is hit it from a distance. So you will probably need to buy a bow just for that flower. It is a quest that you don't want to miss because it gives you more health and strength. So just buy a bow, but if you have a swap gear with a ranged weapon already, probably it's better to have a bow because it has more range than a throwing weapon like this. You will die anyway with this ranged weapon. Just have a bow. Now, if you have some lock cooldown, as we said, I prefer to use this. Now, as we said, you have to have a good weapon and mainly shift from casting to a damage dealing beast. Now to do that, you will shift from distortion wave, distort reality, to another kind of damage dealing. Now you can, before going to a heavy damage dealing attacking build, into Trance of Wrath. You can find some essence of Zeus Thunderbolt, which is this. Let's see the relic. It does electrical burn damage increase. It's the same at all levels. So you can find this, it's really nice. Now I think the base, the base does not roll with lightning electrical burn increase. But I think the epic one does. It's really strange. Only the epic one does roll with the electrical burn increase. But you will still not be in epic at that time. Mostly normal. So if you want, you can increase this ability and swap, just pass around the enemies and they will die. You will struggle with some bosses, but that is also fine. You will still be using this. This can be increased, as we said, with Zeus, with Lucid Dream, and maybe some Pegasus boots if you find them, some Griffon if you are not using Stonebinders, although that would be a heresy. Just don't do that, use Stonebinders. Now, if you are still using Occult's Loop, you can see he also increases elemental damage. So it's a nice synergy if you're still casting.
May your path always
now,
be even.
After some time, so at the end of maybe Act 3, 4, this will not be enough. You will start to feel the damage decrease. So start putting all your points into the bar, and at the start of epic and of normal you will be really weak, but the survivability will help you stay alive anyway. Now at that point you will go from 0 to hero, because you have put a lot of points into the bar from hunting mastery. Now at that point you can start farming the golden scarab from epic and use a not this a tinkerer ring
My friend,
amulet,
you look
sorry.
weary. Can I
So
take
the
a
+2 to all
burden from your
skills
shoulders?
as well as the +1 from custom binders.
Safe roads.
You can just
Great.
put 1 point in any skill that you need, so 1 point here, 1 point here, here, this one skip. This one is a melee build, so this one can be completely skipped. Net is useless. Monster lure you can use, but mostly it doesn't help. So 1 point here, here, here. In the augment skill, this trail bleeding is really nice for the start of epic. The faster you get it, the better for the reduced entrapment. You don't want to die to a centaur combo, so this is good. And 1 point in gouge, volley, start going all the way into the call of the hunt and study prey. So this will be your mainly damaging abilities. If you are still using a thrown weapon because maybe you don't have a spear, just keep a flash out and finesse. Remember, you cannot crit with your ranged weapon, so the offensive ability and defensive ability decrease is useless. You will mainly shift from electrical burn, physical damage, spellcasting, to a physical damage and piercing, maybe some bleeding with this damaging build. Now that is really strong. Now I will show you some kind of example of what this build can do. Let's find some enemies. For example, let's go in let's go to Atlantis. Now Atlantis is hard to compute for my computer, so let's go to Corinth. I really like this place. It just gives off the standard Greek mythology vibe. Now you can see my herbal remedy has run off, so I will cast it again. Another tip. Don't remember when you are in this act, in the North Act, to buy Scroll of Divine Primal Chaos. Now this gives a Colossus form, but is the buyable version. So you can have 40% damage absorption anytime you want, just buy as much as you can. Use if you are in need. Now, before going into the enemies, I will swap, cast on my things, then swap again. You can see you can hit a lot of enemies. Now, the Incubus, it's quite nice. He gains aggro of the enemies, so even if he does not do any damage, he will gain pressure from you. And you can see my buff has ended, so cast again, swap, retreat. Now this is the kind of things you will do. What? Another one? What? Now, you of course didn't see it, but you don't know how much I have farmed for this. I have probably killed the Hydra. Now, let me show you. This monster. What the fuck has just happened? Learner Hydra. This monster has the higher chance of dropping the Talisman of the Jade Emperor. And you can see the highest chance any monster has it to drop this is 1.3%. So it's quite low. It's quite fucking low. Now, thanks game. Really appreciate it. Of course, it's really too late. I already have it. But fuck you, game. Sometimes I have farmed this maybe 200 times, maybe more. Fuck you. Fuck you. Now, Sorry. Let's move on. Now you can see this is the kind of damage you can do. And let's take a look at the kind of resistances you have. The boss, or any kind of boss, will have to go through your resistances, through your high armor, through your damage reduction, 25% damage reduction. He will have to go through your 20% damage absorption bonus from Trumps of Covalescence. Remember, in the end game, you don't want to use this at all. It's just not enough damage. And this is so much survivability. If you are doing hardcore, you cannot not use this. Transfer Covalescence, 20% damage absorption. If he is melee, he is attacking, so he can trigger this distortion field, which is a lot more damage absorption. He will have to go through your healing, because you can also use your potions. He will have to go through your attack damage converted to health, your life leech over time, and he will have to go through your Divine Scroll of Primal Chaos, as well as your insane health points. So you can see a boss has to do a lot to kill you. A lot, really. Now, sometimes, if you are doing things wrong, you will die. But that has almost, and I remember almost, 0 deaths happened 2 times. Now, the first one, as I said before, has been in Honeburg Act. Now in here, if I can, I'll show you. In here, there is a lake here. Now, a lots of trolls will start to appear in these places, and you will probably take a lot of damage. So you can see my bleeding resistance is really low. Now that is why you should pay attention. And I went like this. This bar, I was literally here, and I almost died. At that time, I pressed my 4 button, my Colossus form, and I stopped taking damage. Now, luckily, I didn't die, but that was a wake-up call to pay more attention. You don't want to lure lots of enemies, because if you are luring lots of enemies, you can't attack them all and apply your life leech and attack damage converted to health. You can apply a lots of enemies to heal yourself with Phantom Strike or Spear Dance. This is quite nice, quite strong. I don't like that they are feared away, because they are running away, they are not dying. But the slower attack and the full arc of attack is great to apply things like this. With the reduced damage and attack converted to health is probably the best use you can think of with this ability. Now, that is the thinking. Just go slow. Don't aggro too many enemies. And also, the other thing you have to pay attention is before going to battle, look at your gear. Is it the right gear, or is it the wrong gear? Look at my health. The other time, I almost died, is just because I did this. Look at my health. You see, I didn't remember to swap my sacrificial medallion of grace, and I didn't have all this health. I didn't have my master forge. I didn't have this Hera shield. So you can see my health is quite low. Now with 3000 health, even by using this Trance of Constellations, Distortion Field, you will die. In Legendary, bleeding resistance like this, 0% cold and lightning, pierce is really bad. Now you will die. So remember, if you are using the sacrificial dagger or any kind of swap gear with no resistances on it, before going to battle, look at your gear. That is my lesson for today. And yeah, that's about it. This is a recap build from a success, in my opinion, of a hardcore character. Now I still have to beat the East, the Eternal Ember DLC. If I can do that, then this character will be the first to have completed both Epic, Legendary, and the East hardcore without dying. Hardcore. Now this is really my first hardcore, and this is why I chose to show it. This is my journey, my lesson to other people. This can be a great mastery combination, Haruspex. And yeah, I will probably do some other hardcore videos. Maybe I will record them along the way. Now I just skipped over normal and epic, as well as most of the legendary. I just did a recap build. But what I will do, I will probably do some videos along the way for another character, maybe even more. And yeah, that's it. If you want to see the journey along the way, comment down below what you want, or if you just want to see the final video after defeating legendary or after the build dies for any kind of motives. Yeah, leave a comment below. If you are not subscribed, remember to hit that subscribe button and also like the video. If you are interested in this kind of Titan Quest, in this kind of hardcore videos, now you can follow me for more, or just play yourself. Now this has been a great journey. The spice that hardcore gives is so nice. Now I still don't dare to play cursed. I will do another hardcore character before going full cursed. And yeah, this is still too much for me. You can see I have not put any curses on, never. But I will probably do this in the future. Yeah, with this nice background, this is all for today, and have fun and play Titan Quest.